been working with manufacturing and warehouse clients for 20 years, and I've seen this during every project. Accurate real-time inventory data is one of the best wins companies can get, and I'm going to explain why. The four biggest problems you have without accurate real-time inventory are: you can't plan, you're constantly recounting inventory, you overstock materials, and you have massive waste. First problem, you can't plan. We're talking about accurate and real-time inventory, so let's start with the accurate side. This one's pretty obvious. If I don't know what I have on hand, then I don't know what the impact will be of filling customer orders, manufacturing more product, buying more raws. And if I don't know my starting point, I don't know where I'll be after I follow my plan. So a plan is therefore useless. Okay, what about real time? This one's a little bit more subtle. The problem is that a lot of people's idea of a plan is that after you make the plan, you're done. But you aren't done. Every time something changes, you need to check and update the plan. How many customer orders did I get? Did sales bring in a new order that changes my priorities? Did a supplier shipment come late? Was there unexpected waste in the process? Did quality have to reject raw materials? Did a customer revise their order? This means that for your inventory plan to work, you need to be constantly updating it. 1,000 other things can happen that will mess up my plan, and when they do, I need to check and revise it. So you need inventory to be accurate all the time, in real time, to plan effectively. Let's get into the second big problem. You will be constantly recounting. First of all, everyone should have a plan, and you know that you can't plan if you don't know what you have. So when you don't trust your inventory to be accurate, the first thing you do when you make a plan is count it. So you're counting inventory every time you need to make a plan. But next, and this is worse, you counted it and you made the plan, but because you know shit happens and things change, when it comes time to execute the plan, you count it again. Like for example, when it's time to start a batching or packaging run, somebody's going to go out and count all the materials before they start because they don't trust the inventory and they don't want to have a surprise halfway through a batch. They've been burned before by getting started and realizing partway through the process something is missing. So you end up counting and recounting inventory all the time, which is a huge time suck and totally demoralizing work. Problem 3. Without accurate real-time inventory, you will overstock your inventory. This happens everywhere where inventory is not accurate and where the plan can't be trusted. People will say, I don't trust my inventory or my plan, and I have this problem all the time, so let's just buy more raw materials in case we're wrong and then we're ready for everything. This is a vicious cycle because you end up being that squirrel that buried its nut, but then you forgot where you buried it and where you buried it, and so you just end up doing it again, right? You scratch your head and you say, I still don't trust the numbers, I better bury even more. And that's fine, right? You probably should do this if you don't have accurate real-time inventory and a plan that you can trust, because what else can you do, right? But it's not a real solution. And by the way, I'm not saying go and eliminate safety stock completely by solving this, because it still can make sense to stock enough inventory to react to surprises and to be nimble and responsive. But you won't need that extra layer of protection that you have just to cover for inaccurate inventory and poor planning. Fourth problem you have when you don't have accurate real-time inventory is waste. This happens all the time as a consequence of the first 3 problems. It's a knock-on effect. It happens in all kinds of ways, right? So, for example, you don't know what you have or where it is in the facility maybe, so you use inventory that's out of first expiry sequence. And then the earlier expiring stuff just sits there and expires out. Or you have the situation where you overstock materials to cover your inaccurate inventory and bad planning. But then, of course, there aren't enough orders and it expires. Or the customers that use those materials go away and you end up having to write it off. So it's way worse when you have a short shelf life, but it's there regardless. So we have 4 big problems from the lack of accurate real-time inventory. You can't plan, you'll be constantly recounting, you'll overstock, and you'll have waste. This is a super high leverage problem if you can solve it. And it's solvable.